Hello, mathematicians. So in this lesson, your goal is to be able to find the unit rates if the numbers are complex fractions. So I want you to pause this video right now and on your math book, write down the steps that you see on the right-hand side. You'll notice that there's one additional step today, but the majority of what we're going to do here is the same as what we did in the previous lesson. The only difference, though, is that we are going to have some mixed numbers. So since I took up a lot of space in the upper part of my math book, I'm going to start by doing example number 4. So for this example, I want you just to watch. You don't need to write it down, just watch. But if you want to, when I'm done explaining this, pause it and write it down, that's fine. But everything else after this example, I expect you to write down. So here we go. Tia is painting her house. She paints 34.5 square feet in 3/4 of an hour. At this rate, how many square feet can she paint each hour? So we want to know how much per hour. So this is unit rate. So remember that to find unit rate that we're going to divide. And one of our units of time, or one of our units of measure is time, which is an hour. So remember, we always divide the time unit second. So what this looks like is we're going to have 34.5 divided by 3/4. So what you'll notice compared to what we did yesterday is that our top number is a mixed number. So remember that a mixed number, I'm going to write it over here on the left side. A mixed number is a whole number. So for example, 34 with a fraction. So it has a whole number and a fraction. And when we are working with fractions, with division, we don't want to work with mixed numbers. We need to change it to an improper fraction. And so to change to an improper fraction, you guys should remember this from elementary school. You're going to multiply your denominator by your whole number and then add your numerator. So 2 times 34 is 68. Plus 1 is 69. So my improper fraction will be 69 over, and then whatever your denominator was from your mixed number, it'll stay the same. So it's 69.5. So an improper fraction is a fraction where the top number or your numerator is bigger than your denominator. And again, to go from a mixed number to improper, you will multiply and then add, and your denominator stays the same. So this then, the 34.5 is going to become 69 over 2. And then this is divided by 3/4. So that was my first step. My first step was making sure that both of my numbers are fractions. And this is the new learning for today, that we need to change any mixed numbers to improper fractions. So our next step is to multiply by the reciprocal. And remember, we're going to do the reciprocal of the denominator. So my numerator of 69 over 2 is going to stay the same. And I'm going to multiply by the reciprocal. Remember, reciprocal means that we're flipping. So 3/4 is going to become 4/3. Our next step is to try to cross cancel. So this is where we're looking for common factors. What are common numbers that we can divide by? So right away, I noticed 2 and 4. Those are both even numbers, and I could divide each of those by 2. So 4 divided by, let me go to a darker color. Sorry about that. 4 divided by 2 is 2. 2 divided by 2 is 1. Then I noticed that 69 and 3, both of those are divisible by 3. So 3 divided by 3 is 1. 69 divided by 3 is 21. It is not 21. It is 23. Sorry about that. Okay, so now that we have cross-canceled. That was step 3. Step 4, just like yesterday, is to multiply sideways. So we're going to multiply 23 with 2. Which gives us 46. And then on the bottom, we have 1. And remember that we don't want to have a 1 for our answer. That's not really simplified. So this would be 46. And so let's relate that back to this question. So we wanted to know how many square feet per hour she could paint. So this would be 46 square feet per hour. Now, when I paused, it's because I was looking at the way that the book does it, and the book does it a little bit differently. They do not show you guys to cross cancel. And one reason I don't like that is because if you don't, then you'll notice right here, your numbers are going to be larger. So I always prefer to cross cancel because it keeps our numbers smaller. This number 5 doesn't apply to this question, but with word problems, we cannot leave our answers as improper. So if your answer for a word problem is improper, so remember, improper means that the top number is bigger than the bottom, then we need to change it to a mixed number. All right, so now we are going to work on E, and so you need to start working along with me. So here we go. Mr. Ito is spreading mulch in his yard. He spreads 4 2/3 square yards in 2 hours. So you guys might notice by now that you'll see me underlining. And I like to underline the important information as well as the question because it helps me to stay focused on my problem. And we want to know how many square yards can he mulch per hour. So how much per hour? So again, this is unit rate, because we want to know how much for 1 hour. And to find unit rate, we're going to divide. And hours is a unit of a unit of time, so we always are going to do that second. So this is going to look like 4 2/3 divided by 2. So my first step is make sure that both of my numbers are fractions. And in this case, they're not. So 4 2/3, I need to change that to an improper fraction. So to do this, I'm going to multiply and then add. So 3 times 4 is 12. 12 plus 2 is 14. So this is going to become 14 over, and whatever your denominator was, that's going to stay the same. So 4 2/3 is equivalent to 14/3. And then our denominator of our fraction or our complex fraction is 2. It's a whole number. So remember, to make a whole number a fraction, all we need to do is put a 1 underneath it. Okay, so now this right here is the problem that we're working with. So remember that to divide fractions, we're now on step 2. We multiply by the reciprocal. So my top number of 14/3 is going to stay the same. And I'm going to multiply by the reciprocal of our denominator. And remember, reciprocal means we're going to flip it. So 2 over 1 is going to become 1/2. Our next step, so we're on step 3, is to try to cross cancel. And I notice I could cross cancel the 2 and the 14. I could divide each of those by 2. So 2 divided by 2 is 1. 14 divided by 2 is 7. I can't cross cancel anything else, so then I'm going to multiply sideways. So this is 7 over, I almost forgot about the 3. 3 times 1 is 3. So this is 7/3, but it's a word problem, so we don't want to leave word problem answers as improper because it just doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense for somebody to say, I can mulch 7/3 square yards per hour. So to change an improper fraction to a mixed number, what we're going to do is we're going to divide. And so to do this, the top number is going to go in and the bottom number goes out. So this is like where you're setting up your little division houses, I think is how a lot of you learn it. So the top number is going to go inside and the bottom number is going to go outside. So 3 goes into 7 2 times. 2 times 3 is 6. I'm going to subtract, and then I have a remainder of 1. And you're going to stop here. Okay, it's okay to stop with remainders. This is what we want. So the number on top is where we're starting. That's going to be our whole number. So this is going to be 2. And then think about it as you're going to go around like a clock. Whatever that remainder is going to become your numerator. And whatever number you divided by on the outside is your denominator. So 7/3 as a mixed number would be 2 1/3. And again, I have to change it to a mixed number because it's a word problem. So it makes much more sense for us to say that he can mulch 2 1/3 yards per hour. So this is yards per hour. Okay, we are next going to go on to F, and I'm going to start kind of on the bottom left. And I'm sorry things are looking a little messy in my book. Okay, so Aubrey can walk 4.5 miles in 1.5 hours. So both of those are important. We need to find her average speed in miles per hour. Okay, so miles per hour. So miles comes first. So that's going to go on top. So we have 4 1/2 divided by 1 1/2. So what I notice here is that both of my numbers, well, even though both of my numbers are mixed numbers, so I don't want mixed numbers, I need to change them to improper fractions. So to do that, I multiply and add. Multiply and add. So for 4 1/2, I'm going to multiply 2 times 4, which is 8. 8 plus 1, which is 9. And the denominator of 2 is going to stay the same. And then for 1 1/2, I'm multiplying 2 times 1, which is 1. It is not 1. 2 times 1, which is 2. 2 plus 1, which is 3. And then this denominator of 2 will stay the same. So now that they are both improper fractions, my next step is to multiply by the reciprocal. So 9/2 is going to stay the same. And I'm not going to divide. I'm going to multiply by the reciprocal of that denominator. So 3/2 is going to flip and become 2/3. Step 3 is to cross cancel. And I see some things I could cross cancel here. So 2 and 2, I can divide each of those by 2 and they each become 1. 3 and 9, I can divide each by 3. So 3 divided by 3 is 1. 9 divided by 3 is 3. I don't see anywhere else I could cross cancel. So then I'm going to multiply sideways. So I get 3 over 1. And I want to simplify this to 3. So this would be 3 miles per hour, mph. So that would be Aubrey's walking speed. So for every hour that she walks, she could go 3 miles in distance. So if you did not work that problem with me, pause right now and work it out and rewind the video if you need to. I'm trying to figure out which one I want to do next. Let's go to page 20 next, and let's look at number 4. So Pep Club members are making spirit buttons. They make 490 spirit buttons in 3.5 hours. So 490 buttons in 3.5 hours. Find the number of buttons the Pep Club makes per hour. So we're looking for buttons per hour. So buttons is going to go on top, which is 490, and hours is on bottom because it's time. And time always goes on the bottom or the second. So first step is I need to make sure they're both fractions. And they're not. So 490, I can make a fraction by putting a 1 underneath it. And 3.5 is a mixed number. I need to change it to improper, and we do that by multiplying and then adding. So 2 times 3 is 6, 6 plus 1 is 7. So this is 7/2. Now that they're both fractions, I'm going to multiply by the reciprocal. So this is 490/1 times, and remember the reciprocal is of this denominator, 7/2 is going to become 2/7. Then I'm going to try to cross cancel, and I can cross cancel the 7 and the 490. I can divide each of those by 7. So 7 divided by 7 is 1. 490 divided by 7. Well, I know that 49 is divisible by 7. It goes in 7 times, and then I'm going to add in another 0 because it's not 49, it's 490. I don't see anything else I could cross cancel, so I'm going to multiply sideways. So I get 140/1, and this simplifies to 140. And so this means they can make 140 buttons per hour. So again, with word problems, we want our answer to either be a whole number or a mixed number. Okay, go ahead and turn to page 21. And I want you to do number 8. So I'm going to explain this one a little bit faster. So 3.5, I need to change to an improper fraction. So that is 7/2. And my denominator of 1/2 can stay the same. Next, I'm going to multiply. Well, let me make this bigger. I'm going to multiply by the reciprocal. So this is 7/2 times 2/1. I could cross cancel the 2's. I can't cross cancel anything else. So this is 7/1, but this reduces to 7. And then my unit of measure would be mph. Next, I want you to do number 9. So again, I'm going to explain this one a little bit faster. So 7.5, I'm going to change to an improper fraction, which would be 15/2. And then 9, I need to make a fraction by putting a 1 underneath it. Then I'm going to multiply by the reciprocal. So this is 15/2 times 1/9. Then I'm going to try, I could cross cancel here. I could cross cancel the 9 and the 15. So I could divide each by 3. So 9 divided by 3 is 3. 15 divided by 3 is 5. I can't cross cancel anything else. So this becomes 5/6. And this is just a regular fraction. It's not improper, so I can leave it just like this. And so this means pages per minute. So if you got either 8 or 9 wrong, then I want you to go back and fix it.